This is the Xiaomi Mi Box S. Coming in at just £60, it directly rivals that of the Google Chromecast with Google TV, as well as the Fire Stick 4K by Amazon. But with its incredibly slim profile, beefy specs, and even the 4K HDR capability, how does the Mi Box hold up against its competition? Let's find out, shall we? Hello everybody, my name is Robert and this is Review Clue. But of course, before we get into today's video, I do just want to congratulate the winner of last week's competition, where I went ahead and went to the Xiaomi Mi store opening in the UK. I got a Mi Watch Lite there, and I've already got one, so I wanted to give it away to you guys in a competition. I stuck all of your names into an online spin wheel, and I want to congratulate the winner, Lewis_Gore. I've reached out to you on social media, buddy, and I'll try and get that watch to you as soon as possible. If you didn't win the competition this time, then do not fret. I'm sure that there will be many more opportunities for me to give some stuff back to you guys for being the loyal audience that you are. Anyway, without further ado, let's start off this review of the Xiaomi Mi Box S. Let's go. Inside of that box, we of course get the surprisingly slim Mi Box S, the Google Voice remote, power cable, and a rather short HDMI cable. Looking at that box though, I quite like its design. Its matte black aesthetic and rounded edges give it a kind of modern look, and coming in at just 16mm high, it can be very slim and almost blends into any modern day setup. For many, including myself, I do prefer that stick style just because it's well out of the way and actually attached to the TV, it's out of sight, out of mind. But this is completely personal preference for me, you might like the set-top box style. The Mi Box S is powered by Android TV, a quad-core processor, 2GB of RAM and an 8GB of storage. While these specs may not seem particularly impressive for 2021, it is enough to be able to do 4K and HDR content, so it really doesn't matter too much. I didn't feel that performance hit, so for me this is just adequate. On the back of that box you of course get the power input, HDMI and audio out to connect up any external speakers, but you can also use Bluetooth if that tickles your fancy. And a USB port. Having that USB port is actually quite handy for showing local content in higher resolutions and higher bit rates. For example, if you want to do 4K at the highest bit rate, you might not want to be streaming that over your network. So having the opportunity to actually plug in a USB device to do so is really good, and it's something that both the Fire TV Stick and the Google Chromecast don't natively support, so that's really nice to see. Of course though, this being a streaming set-top box, you will most likely be streaming all of your content. Setting up the Mi Box S is an absolute breeze. You plug in the HDMI to the back of your TV and into the Mi Box, then plug in the power adapter. Once it's all powered up, it will ask you to connect up to a Wi-Fi network and then give you two options. You can either open up the Google Home app on your iOS or Android device and connect that way, or you can do it all through the TV itself, whichever is easiest for you. I highly recommend using the Google Home application just because that is a little bit quicker and slightly less painful. Especially with me, I've got like a 40-character password for all my accounts now. I don't want to have to be typing that out every single time. So having the Google Home app there is really useful. Of course, you are going to want to go ahead and set up a Google account here as well. This will allow you to download applications from the Google Play Store, as well as some games, and just allow you to really customize this box to your liking. There are a few pre-installed apps on the box, and they're absolutely fine. It's the normal things like Netflix and Amazon Prime. These are all things that you can delete as well if you find that you just won't be using those apps. The Mi Box S is compatible with thousands of apps, including Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney+, Spotify, YouTube, HBO, and even TikTok, just to name a few. And it also has that whole library of games. My biggest issue here is, to me, there were some really glaring holes in these apps. For example, there's no Now TV, there's no All4, there's no BBC iPlayer, and to me that's just something that seems very strange that isn't here. I'd really like to have seen those apps, but it's not a deal breaker. Mainly because this has Chromecast 4K built directly in, we can go ahead and open up any of these apps on our phones or tablets and just cast it straight to the TV. So not a deal breaker, but just a little extra step that you might not want to particularly do, especially if you're spending £60 on a standalone box. If your TV and what you actually want to watch supports it, this can also do 4K up to 120Hz. Visually, it's incredibly impressive. When it comes to audio, you can also have your TV, speakers or soundbar, and they're all compatible. The Mi Box S supports Dolby Audio and DTS 2.0. Unfortunately, we don't see Dolby Atmos or Dolby Vision support here, which again is another glaring hole in just this device as a whole. For 60 quid, that's something that I'd really have liked to have seen as more and more companies start to adopt it, especially Netflix. Actually using the Mi Box S was actually pretty pleasant. The UI is very user-friendly and self-explanatory. If you're used to Android products, then you'll feel right at home here, and that's because this is stock Android TV. It seems well thought out and is one of my favourite TV-based operating systems thanks to its ease of use. It's also incredibly easy to use thanks to that Google remote, which we'll talk a little bit about later on. For the most part, apps open quickly and they don't feel too clunky or awkward. Sometimes you'll find an app just isn't optimised properly and won't work as you would expect, but these are few and far between. You can comfortably read titles of each app from a distance and seamlessly scroll through the content. A lot of the apps are also really quick to sign in too. You can either do it through your Google account, a QR code or a login code. So you don't have to go and find your password for each and every account, which is super duper useful because the last thing I want to be doing is using my 40-character passwords in 7 different places on a keyboard that I'm using with this silly little remote. Now is a great time to say that if this is the first time that you're seeing my face on your screen, then 1, lucky you, and 2, go down there, hit that subscribe button, smash that bell notification icon so you get notified every time I upload. And if you do it, we will be best friends forever. The remote has clear controls and a good grip. There's a power button, volume controls, a dedicated Netflix and Amazon Prime button, as well as the usual buttons to go back to the home page, your apps, and go back one step. The Google Assistant button activates voice search, making it easy to find what you want in a matter of seconds. There's a circular digital pad here to help you navigate the UI if you feel like you want to do that manually as well. But the Google Assistant is really what makes this thing great. I can go ahead and search the title of a film that I want, and it already knows all of the apps that I'm using and that I'm logged into, and will find it instantly on the app that I want to watch it on. For example, here I searched for Split. It showed me that it was free to watch on Netflix, or I could rent it from 2 or 3 different locations. That's really clever and a great way of finding the content that you want to watch quickly and easily. The buttons on the remote are responsive and a good size to press. Thanks in fact that it's running Bluetooth, so you don't actually have to have visual line of sight of the device. You also don't need to point it at the box. You just need to be in some sort of vicinity to it. This means that you can actually place this Mi Box anywhere, like behind the TV or even attached to the back of the TV. Unfortunately, the remote does require 2 AAA batteries, and that's simply not something that you get in the box, which is a little bit annoying, but I have loads lying around the house, so it wasn't a deal breaker. Connecting up a Bluetooth gaming controller and playing some games on this was somewhat enjoyable, with a few games like Real Racing being fun for a few seconds, but in general, I do think this is just a streaming box. You would not want to be playing games on this thing for endless amounts of time. This brings me on to the why. Why would you want a box like this? Especially if you already have a smart TV. I have an LG C9 and it has all of these smart features already built in. So why do I want a Mi Box S? Well, there's one main advantage, and that is my LG TV doesn't support VPNs. Now, you all probably know what a VPN is by this point. What it is it's a great way of masking your location so you can pretend to be from basically anywhere in the world. And it's well known that Netflix changes what films you can watch based upon your region. So it's really nice to be able to install the ExpressVPN app onto the Mi Box itself and be able to quickly jump between locations and change what I want to watch based upon where I am in the world. That's something that my TV simply doesn't do, and whether you think that's an advantage for £60 is up to you, but this is my use case for this box anyway. In conclusion then, if you don't already have a smart TV or are really craving a way to use a VPN on your TV, then this box is for you. It's about the same price as both Amazon and Google's offerings, but has a few key advantages, especially with that USB port in the back. The Mi Box S is intuitive, discreet, fun, but most of all, just seems to work. And for £60, I really cannot fault this device. It's really good to see that Xiaomi have really cemented themselves in the world of smart home and smart products outside of just smartphones. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know with a comment down below and let me know if you like the idea of the Mi Box S and if you're going to pick one up. My name's been Robert, this has been Review Clue, and I will catch you in the next one. Adios.